I'm sure that everyone here has heard about cultivated meat and what exactly it is, along with some pros and cons for if people actually wish to partake. Many of those cons come from a lack of knowledge or assumptions that people have made. Many people deem it unnatural or simply hate to even consider eating meat that was grown inside of a lab. It is unnatural, but that's not the only thing grown in a lab that many Americans are eating. One of the first points I intend to address is when you don't like the thought of humanity playing God and modifying food because it ties to genetically modified food, which is more rampant than you would assume because sure, you might be avoiding genetically modified food, but are you eating products that make use of that food anyway? The answer is probably yes. And it didn't affect you, just like in vitro meat won't affect you negatively. There's so much food that is genetically modified or selectively bred to produce the most valuable traits. A lot of food in American grocery stores has been modified in some way, either through a lab or through selective breeding. If you look into corn, almost all corn in America is genetically modified, and therefore the corn products are as well. If you start checking nutrition facts at Walmart, you will see corn syrup on most things. The FDA actually has a very nice article titled, Am I Eating Foods That Come from GMO Crops? And it's very informative. I don't want to distract from my main point, but you can also look at American flour versus flour around the rest of the world, and you can see how much lab work is being done to that flour to make it last longer, be shelf stable, and what? Be modifying food. And if you are not researching each thing you buy and perhaps sticking to farmers markets, you are eating modified food. So why not take that a step further? The people we respect from history saw a vision for our future in the way food would be created. Good Foods Inc. has a quote from Winston Churchill in 1931 that is as follows: We shall escape the absurdity of growing a whole chicken in order to eat the breast or wing by growing these parts separately under a suitable medium. We have the method for growing whatever part of the chicken we want now. We have the ability to grow it with or without bones. D. Michael Sleeman, CEO of Finless Foods, has a wonderful commentary on how they can grow fish with or without the bones. Everyone I know who eats fish is constantly bothered by the bones and wishing the fish they bought was deboned. If you prefer bones, the bones can still be grown. If you don't want bones, you don't have to have them. Another note from Michael Seaton is he believes consumer acceptance should be easy to maintain because many people care about the environment. If you care about the ocean, why are you eating fish that have to be taken from the ocean? Industry fishing has created dead zones that we currently have in the ocean from how much we messed with it environmentally from industry fishing. That doesn't have to be a thing. Do you care about how much farmland is being devoted to livestock? Stanford University says, and I quote, globally, agriculture occupies about half of the world's habitable land, and nearly 80% of that farmland is devoted to livestock. End quote. That 80% includes food being grown specifically to feed the livestock. The carbon footprint of cultivated meat is so much smaller than the carbon footprint of the slaughtering industry, down to the very factories they're created in. Let's talk about the word slaughter. We are so far removed from the process of how meat is made that many people get uncomfortable just by saying the word slaughter or when you mention that what they are eating used to be a live animal. Many people wish to ignore the treatment of those animals in factories. Many people are vegan because of this, then not because they don't want to eat meat or meat products. They care about the way that animals are treated and the environment. The people who can afford to and want to continue having those products buy free range and hope for the best. But if you're also eating food at fast food restaurants or most restaurants, you are still contributing to the animal industry that dominates our country and does not value the lives of these creatures at all. No one likes to think about the fact that these animals live crappy lives and then get slaughtered, drained, and processed, and so many of us just go, yeah, I don't think about it. It doesn't matter. When you do think about it, why would you choose to slaughter the animal when there is another option available that does not change the taste or nutrition? The National Library of Medicine says that cultivated meat has the same nutritional value as slaughtered meat. Not only does it have the same nutritional value, but if you wanted it to have more value, It can be modified and fortified with whatever the consumer is desiring, including changing fat content or decreasing the parts that could be considered unhealthy. There are no vaccines, no excessive growth hormones, no nothing like that being given to cultivated meat. There are no plants sprayed with pesticides that the meat is eating. It can be tailored to exactly what you prefer. Not only is it morally better, it can be nutritionally better or exactly the same, whichever you prefer. There's there's no reason to slaughter animals and continue and cater to the industry if there's another option, and there is another option. It is suitable and I, the same. Top documentary shows that there is a television show in the Netherlands that features reporters trying cultivated meat for the first time and expressing that they could not tell a taste difference. That was in 2018. Imagine how far we've come from that time period. If you have wanted to try veal but didn't morally approve, there's no moral quandaries with cultivated meat. If the reason you wanted to try veal is because it's tender, cultivated meat is the most tender because there are no animals moving, like actually moving their muscles around. They are grown in a lab. You can eat your meat and think about how it landed on your plate without having to shove it out of your mind morally. Without going, am I a bad person? You can, it's currently around Thanksgiving, and I had a Friendsgiving with the people close to me. The turkey was covered for the entire meal, and I watched two of my friends request that the turkey is covered because they don't like to see the bones because they don't want to think about where meat comes from. This is rampant in our culture, and the reason they don't want to think about where it comes from is because they don't want to think about the fact that something had to die and it didn't even get to live a good life first. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. With mass industry, it's impossible to ensure that each animal lives a decent life. If we use cultivated meat instead, there's both no bones and no guilt. If you care about the environment, if you care about how animals are treated in slaughterhouses, and if you care about what exactly you are putting in your body, then you should be eating cultivated meat and advocating for it to be available for purchase in more places.